Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. In a state renowned for its local food and beverages, 3 Vermont dairy farms are being recognized for producing the highest quality milk in the state. In a moment, we'll meet the winner who produces the best quality milk. First, let's learn how the milk is judged by the Vermont Dairy Industry Association.
The Vermont Milk Quality Award recognizes the farmer who produces the highest and consistently highest quality of milk throughout the entire year. It's measured on 3 separate fronts. First front is somatic cell count, which is the body's immune response to an infection in the udder of the cow. The lower that number, the less likelihood there is for an infection in the cow. The second criteria is raw bacteria count, where we actually directly measure the amount of bacteria that's in the milk. And we like to have less than 10,000 organisms per milliliter there. And then the preliminary incubation period. Take a vial full of milk, set it on a counter at 55 degrees temperature for 18 hours, and then culture it and see how much bacteria grows after that. The highest milk quality award this year is able to afford a cash prize for the highest milk quality award winner. And this year's award recipients will be receiving money made possible by Angelo Pizzagalli and the Angelo Pizzagalli Family Farm Fund at the Vermont Community Foundation. The awards are intended to encourage professionalism and quality in the industry that is such a vital part of our Vermont heritage.
Across the Fence is honored to announce that the overall winner of the Milk Quality Award for the past year is Howmar's Farm in Franklin, Vermont. Here's Howmar's owner, John Gates.
Well, I was very surprised. I heard from my NFO representative, Shelby Biasini, that she put me in for the nomination, our farm for the nomination. And she called and said, well, you're top 3. I said, well, that's a great honor. And then she called a little while later and said, well, you did receive the top quality award. And it's very humbling knowing all the dairy farmers in the state and the farmers I know right in my area who do an excellent job on milk quality, to think that we were the best in the state. It's a little hard to believe, but what a great and humbling honor to be recognized for your work, and that means a lot to a dairy farmer, to be recognized for what he does.
Well, again, congratulations, and asking you to tell us a little bit about your farm and about the family that you and Karen have in Franklin.
Yeah, sure. Well, we operate an organic registered Jersey herd here in Franklin. The farm started in 1943 with my mother's grandparents. My parents took over the farm in the late 60s. And then I came back to the farm in the 80s after college. My wife and I have been here working on the farm since then. And my 3 sons, Ben, Justin, and Noah, have grown up on the farm. Have always helped. And I have one son working full-time now, and my oldest son helps out when he can. We ship milk to Crop Cooperative, Organic Valley. We've been a member with them for over 20 years, and we've been shipping organic milk. This is our 24th year of shipping organic milk from a herd of about 45 Jersey cows.
So, Jonathan, as a farmer, your work involves land, it involves buildings, it involves animals and regulations. Where does quality fit in the scheme of the things that a professional farmer has to deal with on a daily basis?
Well, I think quality and I think herd management really fall hand in hand, the 2 most important things. And obviously, if you're managing your herd well, taking care of them, housing them well, then your milk quality is going to be good. And quality for us is really important, I think, for 3 reasons. One, it means that we earn extra money every milk check. Our cooperative pays premiums for higher milk quality, and we benefit from that every month. Our organic cooperative benefits from higher quality milk because they have a better raw product to start with to produce the products they sell to consumers. So that's important to them, and it is an extremely important issue to them. And then finally, it's important to the consumer. The better quality product we put forth to the consumer It's going to have better taste. It's going to have a longer shelf life. So I think quality is probably always in the back of our mind in everything we do, whether how we take care of the barn, the milking system, even animal health care, to keep them as healthy as we can to produce a good quality product.
So we heard in the introduction from Tony Kitsos a little bit about what goes into the Milk Quality Award. Those things as bacterial and somatic cell counts. That doesn't mean much to us as consumers. So what are the factors, the issues that can impact those counts? What are you doing in the barn with your animals on a daily basis that ultimately affects the quality of the milk that leaves Halmar's?
Right. So basically we start with, make sure the environment the cow is in is as clean as possible. We have a freestall barn, so obviously we keep it clean daily. We keep the stalls well bedded year round to provide a clean environment so they stay healthy. The milking system and the cooling system, it's very important to keep those working properly. Anything improper in the milking system could cause problems to the cows milking, to their udder, to their mammary system, that might cause problems and increase bacteria counts. Keeping everything clean, and then proper cooling of the milk, which has been an issue that our cooperative is really working at, to ensure the milk is cooled quickly and stayed at a good temperature so that maintains milk quality. And then just the health of the cow. If we have, for some reason, we're starting to have some flare-ups, we're having some infections in the cow's udders, we look to see what the reason is, environmental or with the equipment, or just the animal themselves, and try to remedy the problem as quick as we can to maintain the quality in the milk. So it's the environmental things, the health of the animal. Those are all. If something's going awry, it can cause problems. So we want to try to stay on top of it as much as we can. And
obviously you do. Does it make it easier that you're a smaller herd, or you talked earlier about the size of the farm and the number of cows? You're actually sort of a little below the state average. You are a small farm.
Right. I think that can help because it always impresses me when I know there are farms that are milking several hundred or maybe 1,000 cows, and their quality is approaching what I'm producing. I think that helps us, but we also, to our benefit, we milk in our facility is now 50 years old. Our milking parlor is 50 years old. And also having Jerseys, we produce a very high butterfat and protein milk. So, it makes it a little more difficult to make sure you're keeping all the milk surfaces clean because of that. So I think it does help it. And obviously my son and I do all the milking, so we don't have hired people coming in, somebody different milking the cows all the time. And two, we do know the individual cows when we have people visit the farm. And how do you know who that cow is? And I said, it's like they're my kids. I know them all. I know them from, I feed them as babies, and they stay here till they're maybe 10 years old. So I think that does help. I think you're right.
Well, we haven't added in that you're also doing sugaring. You have a beef operation, so we know that you have plenty going on at Halmar's Farm. So congratulations again to you and Karen and the boys, and thanks for taking the time to visit with us. What an honor to be speaking with the highest quality milk producer in the state of Vermont. Thank you, Jonathan.
Well, thank you, Will. Your words are very kind. I really appreciate it.
Congratulations and recognition are also due to two other Vermont farms. The first runner-up in the Milk Quality Awards goes to Stephen and Leslie Brown of East Burke, Vermont. And the second runner-up goes to James Ackerman of Hardwick, Vermont. We salute the winners and all the hardworking farmers who produce quality milk and other products. A sure sign of warming weather is the annual spawning run of the Steelhead rainbow trout. No other place celebrates this rite of spring better than the village of Orleans in the town of Barton. A couple of years ago, Across the Fence's Keith Silva went to the rocky banks of the Willoughby River to try to see the fish firsthand and learn why the migration is an indicator of the health of Vermont's lakes, rivers, and streams.
The Willoughby River runs through the village of Orleans, and also it flows into the Barton River. The Barton River flows out to Lake Memphremagog. In Lake Memphremagog, we have lots of different fish species, but one of them that is really kind of unique is what we call steelhead rainbow trout. When the conditions are right, you'll see them jumping out of the water. It gets anglers excited, but anybody, even if they don't fish, likes seeing these big, beautiful fish jump out of the water. It's a chance for people that aren't normally fishing to actually see a fish, and a big one at that. When the water is high enough, and when maybe the water's a little bit colder, they can actually swim up through and you would never see them. But it's only when the flows are at just the right level and the water temperature is warm enough for them to have enough, energy and strength to actually jump out of the water that you'll actually see them. We have many different species of fish in Vermont, some that are native, some that are introduced. Some of them are more tolerant to poor habitat or pollution, that kind of thing. These steelhead rainbow trout, the fact that these fish are there surviving, reproducing on their own is an indication that we have good water quality. The water's clean enough to support these fish, to support their entire life cycle from eggs to the juveniles and then out to the lake. So the fact that these fish can complete their entire life cycle in the Lake Memphremagog system and its tributaries indicates that we have good water quality and good habitat, which should matter to everybody, because if we've got these species surviving and thriving, that means that conditions are good for the entire ecosystem, including us.
That's cool. You got about 5.
Yeah, you think so? You got about 5?
Yeah.
What's the best way to see these fish, and what's your tips for seeing fish jumping, Judd?
Best time to go is usually going to be around late April, maybe into early May. You have to do one of two things. You have to get lucky and be there at the right time, or you have to put your time in, because sometimes you just go there multiple times and eventually you get it. Because these fish, they need the right conditions in order to jump, it can be hit or miss. But on a really good day, you might see over 10 fish jump in an hour.
For more information, visit the Vermont Fish and Wildlife Department's website. And that's our program for today. Once again, thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.